Hey kids! So, the title of today's video is If You Don't Try, You'll Never Do. So first, I want to start by sharing something a little bit embarrassing about your old man. As I've said, I grew up in the church. I was determined to wait for marriage to have sex. So I made this decision in like the ninth or 10th grade. And so since then, even if I liked girls, I would try to analyze if, like if the girls that I liked were somebody that I can marry. So I would make this excuse of not making a move on someone, saying that I would never marry them, and so I shouldn't date them. When in actuality, I think it was probably because I was insecure about myself, and I just couldn't imagine anyone actually wanting to be with me. And so I've had these insecurities that I just never dealt with, and so I was intensely afraid of rejection. And not only that, but friendship was then and also is now something I really highly valued. And if I did end up liking a friend, I was scared that I would lose them as a friend. So, which in hindsight is pretty ridiculous because a lot of those people I just no longer keep in touch with anymore. But at the time, I felt like we were going to be friends forever. And in which cases, it's true. I still am friends with some of those people, but not many. I was actually pretty old by the time I first asked somebody out. I think I was about 23 or 24. So yeah, I was really into her and I thought she was interested in me too. And there were some signals that I guess I misread and she rejected me. And yeah, so we only saw each other once after that. And so our friendship was basically ruined. But that first experience really taught me that rejection isn't so bad. In fact, compared to like really agonizing over the various scenarios of, in my head over and over for months, just getting over it with it was really refreshing. So after that, I was able to move on, and I dated a little bit here and there. I got rejected a few more times, and then later I met your mom. I really think that had I not experienced those, first have I not experienced rejection, I just really would not have gotten over that fear. So while it's not all about how many girls or boys you go out with, people who put themselves out there and try more, while might get rejected more, will get more. This applies to everything in life. If you don't try, you'll never do. If you never apply to colleges, you'll never get in. No one's going to notice your brilliance and like offer you a spot anywhere. If you don't put your work out there, out where people can view and criticize your work, you'll never be seen. If you never ask the person you're interested in out, they'll never get the chance to say yes. People love talking about, failing often, but I actually really rarely see it practiced around me. Everyone seems to love the cozy feeling of feeling safe. And I honestly feel the same way. Part of me feels like, if no one sees what I can or cannot do, then they'll, never really be able to judge me. But what I'm starting to realize is that by not doing is actually truly failing. And that doing and failing and learning from it is actually really not failure. In fact, it's actually crucial to success. So I've grown up with the notion that we have to succeed in life. The only options are either to succeed or fail. And as if some key moment decides which direction you'll end up going. So I did what many of us do around the world. I went to the best college that I could go to, took the highest paying job, and I've played it really safe. In order to be able to last, this is, what I tell myself. Some of it's true, but some of it might just be giving myself excuses. I tell myself that, I have a family to look after and that I can't be trying anything risky because if I go broke, you guys will starve. Yeah, maybe. I tell myself that aside from my job, my life is pretty good. And it's true, it is pretty good. I have great people around me. I love my kids, and when you guys are older, I'll be able to pursue some of my hobbies that I haven't been able to do recently, like traveling to some remote places. And frankly, honestly, my job isn't horrible. It's pretty dull and stressful at times, but the pay is decent, and I get a good amount of days off, and also work-life balance is great. So I have a lot of time to spend with you guys. But in all honesty, I think that I've just really become comfortable in the safety net of a corporate job. I've never been laid off or fired, and I have very little chance of actually becoming jobless. Yeah, I think the problem might have been that I did not really ever have a chance to fail. Um, I mean, I'm not sure, but this is just the way I feel like, at least, so far in my life. I wasn't balling or anything, but my first job paid me $75,000 a year. And with a bonus, it was usually around $80,000 a year or so, which was way more than I actually expected to make out of college. And it turned out a lot more than I needed to live and enjoy my life. Yeah, and before I got my first job, I had plans. Like I planned to enter design competitions, to design, create my own products, to freelance on the side and on top of work. But as soon as I landed that job, I didn't do any of that. I ate, I shopped, and I went out to hang out with my friends every day. And I thought that maybe I'm just somebody who has no ambition. And, that I guess maybe is somewhat true as well. But if I think back, while I was a student, there was a time when I made a ton of progress. I applied for internships halfway through college. And while other students were getting offers, I got nothing. I applied again the next semester, and I got really, really lucky and landed an internship at Hot Wheels. I say lucky because other people that they had wanted initially had already accepted other places because they're a little bit late, and I was actually like one of the few people left. So that's how I ended up there. And my first day, I made a horrible impression on one of the managers. We had gone out for lunch with the manager that hired me, and another manager of a different team, and somebody who had recently graduated from my school. And the manager that was from the other team, asked me a series of questions, and which basically I ended up answering saying, I don't know, to all of them. And so after lunch, the recent grad took me into his cubicle and straight up told me, "You effed up," and he didn't say it like that. And he told me, when someone asks you a question about yourself, even if you don't know, you make it up. And later, I learned that this manager gave the guy who hired me a really hard time because he didn't understand why he would somebody hire so useless. So yeah, that was actually a failure. But because of this initial failure, I felt like I had to prove myself. So I worked my ass off. And by the end of that internship, everyone there said that I was the best intern they had ever had. And the manager that hated me initially later actually offered me a job there when I went to go visit. And had I had already graduated from school, I would have taken the job. But I was still a student, so it didn't work out. So yeah, while I was interning there, I applied for another internship. And I had heard so much good stuff about this company that I wanted to intern for, and I desperately wanted to get in there. And I actually received a reply saying, unfortunately, the position had been filled. So, in my innocence, I replied back saying, okay, I'll try again next semester. And then the response I got back actually really shocked me. The email read something like, honestly, you're not good enough to intern here, so don't bother trying again. And yeah, failure. So, somewhat angry, I shot back. Yeah, instead of just telling me I'm not good enough, could you tell me where I'm lacking? And so he actually emailed me back a detailed critique of my work and what I needed to work on. So I actually printed that out. I taped it on my wall next to my desk, and that I really took those criticisms to heart and worked on it. And so the next semester, I had reworked my portfolio completely and taking into account everything that person had told me, and I applied again. And I was actually accepted. And though, to be honest, I think I was also lucky then as well, because I think the efforts that I had put in to change my portfolio had impressed the hiring manager. And so while I wasn't quite as good as someone who normally got the internships there, I made a really good impression. And also, I was lucky in that my really good friend from school happened to be interning there right before me, and he put in a really good word for me. And lastly, he also called up my manager from Hot Wheels, who really gave me a glowing recommendation. And so it all really worked out for me to be able to work there. So, it was only then, it was only when I had failed that I managed to achieve, I think, some of my greatest successes then. And actually, those successes that I had then actually allowed me to later get my first job. And I guess those successes have actually been propping my career up even until now, I would say. Yeah, so 2020 really has been a wake-up call. And as dumb as it sounds, this year has made me really realize that I will truly die one day. And when this illness hit and people were getting sick all around the world, it just made me realize how powerless I am, to to actually really control my destiny, you know. And I always thought that I was in control, and that at least I had some power to change things if I wanted to. But I realized that there are situations that I just can't do anything about. Yeah. So before I go, meaning, before I die, I decided that, it's time that I fail some more. And so this is actually one of the reasons why I'm starting these videos. And of course, the main reason, as I had said previously, is to leave you guys with my thoughts. But the secondary reason is to see if I can make something out of this platform. I want to leave you guys with stories of overcoming failure so that you guys can grow up. You'll also be able to learn from my experiences. That said, I plan on starting a business next year, I think. I'm not sure yet, but I'm studying and I'm working on it, and I'm talking to some people. I'm also taking courses. So I'll actually let you guys know how that goes. But yeah, I'm really not sure. So I decided that instead of making this excuse or that excuse, it's really time that I take things into my own hands and try things. And if I fail, I think I'll learn a lot from them. And that saying, fail quick and no, or actually they say fail fast, right? I think should apply here as well. So if things work out well, good. But if they don't, then that's fine as well. And a lot of people have actually said sometimes becoming successful in the beginning is not always the best thing. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about people who have succeeded on YouTube and how to make things work on YouTube. It's interesting that I found that some of the people who had really early success are no longer around, but people who really stuck to it, they did it because they really enjoyed it, and this is something that they wanted to do, and the primary reason just wasn't for money or fame. They're the ones that succeeded. And so, yeah, I think there's a guy who tried for 6 years or 7 years to be successful, and was not going anywhere, except now he's one of the biggest YouTubers around. So yeah, so you just never really know, right? So yeah, for today, that's it. And always remember, kids, I'm proud of you no matter how much you fail or how much you succeed, and that I'll always love you. And hopefully I'll always be around to support you guys. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys again next time. Bye.